The Business Owners Podcast is brought to you by Business and Enova Group with your hosts, Linda Reid Enevar and Clive Enevar. In each episode, we talk to other business owners about their experiences, challenges, and successes. We'll also share tips and advice on how to grow your business and achieve your goals. If you're a business owner or you're thinking about starting a business, then the Business Owners Podcast is for you.
Welcome to the Business Owners Podcast. My name is Clive Enevar, and along with Linda Reid Enevar, I am your host. I am a business strategist and I help people engage more effectively with more of their ideal client more often. Today I'm having a conversation with Manoj Sharma of Appetency Recruitment Services about building a scalable, resilient business. Hello and welcome, Manoj.
Hey, hi Clive, how are you?
I'm absolutely on top of the world, Manoj. Whereabouts have we found you geographically?
I am in Melbourne, beautiful city. That's where we guys do our business from.
And are you looking forward to your 4 seasons this day?
Yes, we started with the rain today, which is amazing.
You're on track to get the lot.
As well.
Very good. I can detect there's a little accent in there. Where have you come from in order to get to Melbourne?
I was born and brought up in Delhi, India, and I moved to Australia nearly 15 years ago. I have done my education from India, predominantly from Delhi, but I've stayed somewhat in the southern part of India as well. And when I moved to Australia, Melbourne is where I landed up and just fell in love with the city. It's beautiful. It's amazing. Amazing culture, amazing vibe, amazing people. So can't complain. God in the country has been great. So yeah.
Excellent. And just to kick us off so we can learn a little bit about Manoj, is it tea, coffee or something else?
It is tea. Yeah, I like my teas. Yeah, but yeah, when you're running a business, you land up having so many teas and coffees with every client every day. So yeah, I don't like both.
So it's a good thing to enjoy at least one of them.
Yes, it is.
So are you an early bird or a night owl, or can you do a little bit of both?
Oh, when you're running a business, you literally land up doing both. So yeah, I've got clients that are giving me a call late at night and some meetings that do early morning as well. Yeah. So pretty much do both ends.
So you've learned to master both. What book are you currently reading, Manoj, and why can't you put it down?
At this moment, I am reading the EOS framework. How to build businesses is what I read a lot about these days. And that particular book has been recommended by one of our clients and their business coach, and they follow that methodology as well. So that's the one that I'm reading through. So far, it's been good. Yeah, a lot of insights.
Very good. What's one word that you would use to describe your journey so far?
Fulfilling, interesting. I can't describe it in one word, but yeah, it's been an amazing journey. Hard, don't get me wrong. It is difficult. It is challenging, but it is amazing working with so many people, producing the results that we guys do and helping so many businesses. The business has been great as well. I've got a good family, good clients to work with, and good value propositions that we guys are able to help the customers. So yeah, in long words, interesting and fulfilling. Yes.
Good. That sounds like a somewhat typical business journey. Interesting and fulfilling.
I like putting oil at both ends of the day.
Very good. Recruitment is a very interesting exercise because people like to start a business and grow it, and then they discover that they need more than themselves. Tell us about how you got into the idea or got the idea that you could be a recruitment specialist.
I started my journey nearly 15 years ago when we guys started off working in the recruitment space. Luckily, what I have is technical background, and we landed up focusing on the technology sector itself, catering to small to medium-sized businesses with their recruitment and HR challenges. From very early childhood, I had a very good influence from one of my uncles who was a business owner, and I wanted to run my business for a very long time. And that's when I saw, as working in the technology space, working with some big brands, that finding the right people has always been a big challenge with businesses. And coming to Melbourne, when we dealt with a lot of small businesses, we came across that that's an area that people were often talking about, that how do I hire the right people? How do I engage the right staff? How do I make sure it's the right person? And that's when we get started off with the idea because of my background and the knowledge that I have in recruitment space as well. I thought this is a good space for us to get into and how we guys can enable or utilize technology as well as enable businesses in hiring the right people. So that's how I started. And then we focused on the niche that I knew the best, which is technology space. So yeah, so that's what brought me to the business, an inspiration from childhood, a desire for starting off something new, and then a purpose basically to help people solve their own problems.
We hear all the time about bad hires. What are some of the problems that you see repeated over and over again? And a secondary question with that one, do you see it repeated by the same people?
Yes, that's something that we guys see very often. Personally, I don't think it is because of the lack of intention of people not to hire the right people. I think it's because a lot of small businesses are so bandwidth poor and capability poor that they are always in a reactive cycle rather than proactively analyzing what they need. It's like putting a strategic plan in place. You need to know what you're looking for. And I think that's one of the biggest things that we guys encounter when a small business is. They're always in a reactive mode when they're looking for hiring for that next vacant seat to maybe fill that project or to fill that person who has recently left. Rather than having a strategic plan in place, okay, this is what I need, and this is the reason what I need it for, and this is what good looks like, and this is how I'm going to set up the good for success. So a lot of small businesses lack these four pillars that you need to ensure it's the right success. And a lot of times when I come across businesses who are successful against who are struggling for that next revenue are the businesses that don't have the right team and these structures in place because they're always in that reactive mode in which they hired for the need of the hour rather than looking at, okay, what should I be actually be hiring for that's going to be useful for my business? I think that's where we guys help as well. I think that's the fulfilling part about our business as well. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
identifying the core need rather than the knee-jerk reaction, if we like.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And a lot of small businesses land up in that very space repeatedly. They'll always think about, I won't do it next time, but then they don't have the time to come back and define it properly.
That's right. I hear that quite often, Manoj, that planning's too hard. It takes too long. But 10 minutes planning saves 2 hours in the doing.
100% I agree with you. And to tell you frankly, planning depends on the size of the business as well, correct? If you're a small to medium sized business, you don't need to spend 6 months planning. All you have to do is just spend 2 hours defining what good looks like and where do you want to head. Because if you don't define where you want to head and how you're going to measure success, you're shooting everywhere. And if you're shooting everywhere, yeah, you basically won't know what you're doing. So it definitely helps to put that spend 2 hours because the 2 hours I have seen personally because we work in those small businesses where one single mishire can push the businesses even 6 months behind on the product roadmaps. So it's not just that one hire is going to fulfill that hour of the need, but it's actually going to save the business by doing the right hire nearly 50 to 60 grand in lost potential revenue from their own customers that they could have potentially had by hiring the right people in place and not going back on their timelines and on their business plan. So 100%, but I agree. A lot of small businesses are time poor, and that's why they don't land up spending time in planning. But it's so important, especially with respect to early years, because that's when you're building up the core team.
Yes. And it's been my experience that although they're time poor, they're largely time poor because they don't do planning.
Yeah, true. True.
So if we do a little bit of planning, all of a sudden we have time to do other things. And repeatedly we see where people have taken the time to plan, they not only achieve more, they do more within the time that they have. So all you folks out there watching and listening, do a little bit of planning. Get hold of one of us and get some planning done. If we look just at really simple arithmetic, for example, in recruiting, if we make a bad hire and we have to replace a person, if we go through the full process of recruiting, we interview, talk about it amongst ourselves, we interview again, we're probably going to have somebody back for a third interview before we make an offer. I remember working with recruiting people some years ago. It cost approximately the same as the salary to hire somebody. So you were actually spending two lots of salaries. Is that still accurate?
It is still accurate, and it's getting a bit worse as well. What's happening is with the latest advent of technology such as AI, what we guys are seeing a lot in the market is the speed or the pace at which things move is getting very quick. Yeah. So where in one candidate it used to take them around 2 or 5 minutes to apply, now it takes them literally 1 minute, 2 seconds for them to even write a very detailed cover letter and apply for that particular role. So what we guys are seeing now is the number of applications that are coming in for any job ads that's just shooting through the roof. So earlier, yes, you were inviting people for interview for 3 rounds. And a lot of times I see people talking about that they can't find the right talent, but it's not about the talent, it's about the process. So your process should be able to handle wherein you have seen less number of applications come through, or more number of applications come through, or no applications coming through. For example, I've come across businesses that say people is our core strength. Our core differentiator is people. And then the only people strategy that they have in their business is I'm going to hire somebody by putting a CCAT out. Yeah. That's the best that they can do. I'm going to go fishing today and I'm going to catch a whale. Yeah. That's not a process. That's a recreational activity. That's where a lot of people make a lot of mistakes. And that's what costs them a lot of money. For example, just an ad out and organizing the entire 3-step process or 2-step process, whatever you do, it needs to be the right fit for the role. And on top of it, if you don't know what the person needs to achieve, and if you don't know what the success would look like 3 to 9 months down the lane, then you land up rehiring again. It's literally recruitment fee and the time spent from the leadership training and upskilling and the cultural mismatch and the cultural impact and the push timelines and the projects that 50, 60 grand gone just right out. Yeah. And that's what we guys were seeing repeatedly out in the market. And that's the problem that we guys now are trying to solve with that 15 years of experience. That's what we guys are solving with GenieHiring.ai. Because what Genie Hiring and AI is giving us is the horsepower to push through all the data so quickly, but that element of human one-on-one touch, that cultural aspect of having a human to talk to, which still 88% of the people, as per to the recent surveys, people prefer talking to humans. And that human touch along with that AI technology, that empathy level in that process, that cultural aspect of the process, so that we are giving that AI power and that human empathy touch to small businesses so that they can have a process with predictable timelines and cost rather than blowing up the money. And one of the ways that we guys work with small businesses is we help them de-risk and establish this particular process within the business. And any hire that these guys do, we just back it up with 365 days recruitment as well. So we make sure we have the right strategies and process and risk mitigations in place. So to answer your question with respect to cost, the number of applications are going high. The number of AI automations that are going in that market or within the recruitment technology space, that's costing a lot of money on the broken processes. And those broken processes, on top of the broken tech or brilliant technology, on top of the broken processes, is currently costing money, more money to the businesses. But if we guys refine the process and utilize the technology to enhance that good process, that will bring out reduced risk and reduced cost to organizations. So that's the logical next step that organizations should be talking about and taking if they want to de-risk their business with respect to people and culture and with respect to cost. a long answer to your question.
No, and a very important one, Manoj, because there's so many times we see people having trouble getting people. And I agree with you entirely. If you don't know exactly who the person that you want in your business is, okay, we don't need to know their name, but we can identify this is the person we want in this business. Okay, the skills will come. Okay, they turn up with the skills, but if you're hiring for skills, you're doing it again. Whereas if you hire for the person, you quite often find that you're not doing it again until you've helped that person grow to such an extent that they want to go and do it themselves.
Absolutely, 100%. And that's where a lot of businesses do it wrong, because what they do with skill seeks ad is, or the best strategy for finding talent is, they're utilizing skills to identify a short list of potential candidates and then assessing that limited data that they have for cultural fit. Whereas it should be the other way around. For example, with AI technology, we should be assessing culture fit first and then utilizing AI technology to do that skills assessment, which can be done at very large data very quickly now. So don't restrict yourself as a business to a small set of data when the technology enables you to a much better fit now. So yeah, so definitely that element is definitely required. Yeah.
Yes. And for the benefit of those who might be thinking that this is a new phenomenon, it's only just happened. Anybody watching this can see I've been around a while. And as a business strategist, I've been working with businesses for a very long time. And I've seen it simply grow in consistency throughout business. Exactly what Manoj was talking about, that people are looking at, okay, we'll find out who's got the skills and then we'll try and find the right fit. No, find the person who fits your business, then identify the skills. Because most of the time I've found that people learn things pretty quickly and pretty simply if they're motivated, inspired, I should say, not motivated, inspired to deliver for the business. Have you found anything like that, Manoj?
Absolutely. Can I share a personal example that I came across with you?
Absolutely.
Yeah. For example, we guys were working with one of the clients. Their vision as a business was to grow sustainably and to build a very, very sustainable business over with a realistic kind of a growth plan. Yeah. And we guys helped the client identify a particular candidate who was really a good fit, really a great guy, correct? But the vision that the company has was sustainable small growth, whereas the person's objective or the person's personal objective with their career and what kind of environment that they wanted to be was, I want to work environment with accelerated growth. Yeah. Now they both wanted growth, but the pace at which they want growth was misaligning. And that's where vision is so important. Absolutely great fit. Everybody says that it's great fit. The candidate says, the business says. But because of what their personal motivations and vision for the kind of business it is that differed, it wasn't a long-term good fit for them. So the candidate moved on to a business that became a funded business and it was a high growth, accelerated business. And that was the right fit for the person. Whereas the business wanted to hire somebody who's wanted to have a sustainable relationship driven growth. And that's why business strategy and alignment of business strategy with talent is so important. Now, in both situations, they were both talking about, oh, we love each other, but it's probably not the right strategic or vision alignment. That's where the important business strategy comes in. Yeah. Another example, wherein one of our clients wanted to get an operations kind of a person in. Yeah. And because it's a small environment, small organizations, they wanted somebody who's going to be diverse enough. But out of the 10 position descriptions, again, it's so important to have position description right, guys, because it's very important to set the expectations, set the people for success. Now, they had 10 different roles and KPIs in that particular position description, right? And it's very difficult for somebody to be let go with saying that, okay, these are the 10 directions that you need to point into. So when you're putting a strategy or business plan in place, it's fine to have 10 in place, But what are the top two that you need to focus on with respect to the business strategy or business growth for that particular position description? That's very important for that individual, for the business success and that individual success as well. So that's why it's very important to have that point to have those elements. But what are the top, according to EOS, what's the top rock that you have for the quarter that you need to be focused on? That's very important to give a direction to yourself, the company, and the people who are working for you. So yeah, so those are two examples that we came across from real customers and how we help them make the right decision. So yeah, now that's why it's so important to get the strategy. And of course, that's our strategy also in line with what you want to do.
Yes, absolutely. And it's such a, in the end, simple thing that many of us seem to simply overlook. And again, we want to focus on the data. The data will tell us this, the data can only tell you what's going on if you can relate it to the outcomes you want to achieve. And otherwise, you fall into that old saying, I think it was a politician actually was talking about statistics, damned lies and statistics.
Yep. And it becomes even more dangerous when the statistics is on wrong data.
Yes, that's right. And misinterpreting the data is something that many of us are capable of doing because we get excited about, oh, golly, the first example you mentioned. Here's somebody who can do everything that we're asking of the business, but he wants to do it at 100 miles an hour and I want to do it at 20 miles an hour. How does that fit? Surprised it doesn't.
Yeah.
But let's experience some pain before we try and find out.
Yeah.
But let's discover a little bit more about you. Along your journey, have you found any particular mentor or coach or just somebody that you bumped into who was able to give you a clue that was absolutely fantastic and you're prepared to share?
I have been lucky in that instance, but I wish I could be more lucky as well. I wish I could find a business coach that's there that can help me still prevent from making mistakes that every business owner does. Yeah. But I've been lucky in that way as I had the right inspiration from childhood. We had my uncle. Now, probably what I liked about his life was this was not easy. He was a man who used to wake up early morning and come late at night tired. But yeah, an inspirational kind of a figure to look at. Also, I regularly go through coachings, and for example, we joined a couple of leadership programs and a lot of mentorship programs as well, such so as to bounce the ideas with, and it has helped us tremendously. For example, just the way we guys have the conversations or the sales approach, the sales cycle. The biggest thing that you can get influenced by a mentor is the mindset, correct? Because while running a business, there will be days when you will feel battered and bloody and broken as a business owner. But how you come out of that mindset to actually talk about that's just one phone call away from, okay, are we going to go party tonight? Correct. So it's all about the mindset. And another mindset issue that I've also found about with a lot of businesses is that it's not about you. It's never about you. It's about what you can do for your customers and for others is the only thing that matters. It's never about you. So any business talks about, okay, we've got 25 years of history and we can do this, then blah, blah. All of that blah doesn't matter. What matters is that, okay, Mr. Customer, what's your pain area? What are you trying to achieve? What's the roadblocks that you're trying to have? And if you guys can't help, just leave the poor fellow alone because he's got enough of his problems to work with, correct? So work with people who actually you can help and then see it through that you help them, correct? There are times that, you might take a hit, but you never take a hit on your morals and the kind of relationships that you build. And especially in a market or in a country like ours, relationships is all it's about. It's not about tech. It's not about pricing. It's never about anything else. It's about what relationships you have with people, how genuine relationships you have, and how you're helping those people as well. Now, coming as an immigrant from a very different culture, from a very different background as well, it was very difficult for me to understand it initially. But as you come across people and you come across good people to work with, and you understand the jokes and the mentalities behind everybody. It's not about personal, it's about what they're going through too. I think that mindset shift helps a lot. And that is something that came through from that mentorship and coaching. Another mentor that we guys, or rather, by instance, we guys connected with somebody who literally in 5 minutes had a major influence in how we guys were approaching a particular problem. Yeah, no, 100%. I listen to mentorship videos, how to solve business problems, how to mindset problems all the time. And I definitely think that's a key that can differentiate a struggling business to from a successful business, or can put you on a fast growth plan. 100%.
Key advice for any of our viewers and listeners: pay attention to your mindset. It's all about the mindset. And as Manoj said, it's not about you. Get rid of that ego. It's about what you do for other people. Now, we know that you start early and very often finish late. How do you balance your personal and business life?
Balancing the personal and business life, that always is a challenge for a small business. However, one fundamental question, for example, another person of somebody who influenced me, and that led to me a lot of thinking was, what's my purpose? And it's fine to have business purpose, vision, correct? Values. That's what a business is about. But what's your personal purpose in life? And that led me to thinking that, yeah, although I don't have that answer right now, still, but that also makes me realize that, yeah, as a business owner, I need to take out time for my family and my kids. They're going to grow up, the bird's going to fly, but it's going to be our responsibility as a business owner to create that time and discipline and structure within the business, and the right team around you and the right vendors also around you to help you build that structure and discipline in your place, and to keep you hold accountable so that you are able to take out time. And one of the key things that definitely helps is that when you're planning out your day, what are the top 3 things that are non-negotiable, not haves? So you get that done, correct? And similarly for the quarter, similarly for the year, correct? What's the non-negotiation that you can't do? Focus on that, and then you keep time aside for your family. But you have to do it. That's for your own sanity. That's for your own family. They deserve it as well, as much as your team does.
No, you're absolutely right. It's over too quickly. And yes, the bird does fly. And the thing is, you want them to fly back. So you actually have to make the environment that is comfortable for them. That's absolutely tremendous advice you've provided, Manoj, for all of our listeners. They can all get something from the conversation that we've had. So thank you for joining us. But before I let you go, how can our listeners and viewers get in contact with Manoj?
The easiest way, connect with me on LinkedIn. You can find in my background, look for Genie Hiring or geniehiring.ai. Just connect with me on LinkedIn. Or if you need any kind of help or advice with respect to de-risking your business now and for future with respect to any kind of people and recruitment challenges, we can help across that board or put that strategies in place. Just visit geniehiring.ai, and we guys can talk about how we guys can bring the AI horsepower and the human empathy together for your business so that you can succeed.
geniehiring.ai.
Yes.
Thanks, Manoj, and thanks to our listeners and viewers for joining us. And remember to check out the back catalogue, because just like the conversation that we've had with Manoj, there are gems of wisdom in each one. And we'll be back soonish with a brand new one as well. Thank you, Manoj.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for having me as well, Clive. I really appreciate it.
It's a pleasure.
Thanks for listening to the Business Owners Podcast. We encourage you to connect with us on social media and join our community of business owners at businessbusinessbusiness.com.au.